Good morning, I'm Angie Austin with Oil and Gas 360, and we are at Intercom's 2015 Oil and Gas Conference. This is the 20th year of the conference, and we're joined this morning with Jeff Ventura with Range Resources. Jeff is the chairman, the president, and the chief executive officer of Range Resources Corporation. Morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
So how long have you been coming to the conference?
Oh, it's been several years now. I'd say at least 10. I'm not sure exactly when, but for a long time. I've known Greg for a long time, and it's a great conference, and I'm really glad to be part of it.
It really is. You know, I've been doing some research, and I've got some very specific questions which you know about that I'm going to ask, but I found this really interesting. I was on geology.com, and this headline is so cool about what you guys do. It says, Marcellus Shale, results continue to amaze geologists. And then I read the whole article. It says a resource that moved from marginal to spectacular as a result of new drilling technology. So I learned a lot by reading the article, but what I found fascinating was here was a resource that maybe some people kind of discounted and didn't believe in, and now it's been hugely successful for you. How does that feel? That must be pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Range had the discovery well, and by that I mean the first commercial well in the Marcellus. People had tried to unlock it before, but in October of 2004, a little more than 10 years ago, we completed the Renz #1, and really that kicked off the Marcellus Shale play. And Range at the time was a small company, small stock, and to think we kicked off what now is the premier gas field in North America, and ultimately I think one of the largest in the world. It's been a blessing to be part of that.
Yeah, I agree. It is. All right, so I understand that Marcellus is recognized as the best gas play in North America, as we just kind of discussed. Wood Mackenzie has Range at the largest and lowest cost in the play. So what advantage does that bring to your company, Range?
Yeah, and we're in a commodity business, so size and scale are critical. So you want to be size, scale, and quality. So we're in the highest quality gas play with the Marcellus. And according to the Wood Mackenzie study, we're the lowest cost producer. So in a commodity business, you want to be lowest cost to be able to survive down cycles like we're in now, or to be able to get better returns when prices, supply and demand equalize. The other thing is we have not just low cost, but we have the largest scale according to Wood Mackenzie. So we have the largest footprint, which means, and there's a lot of good things that come from having a large footprint. It enables, if you have a good technical team, which we have, it enables them to do the same thing over and over again to drive capital efficiencies and operating efficiencies. Having a large footprint allows for changes in technology that we'll be able there to capture those changes in technology. And of course it enables you to get through down cycles and to have a big inventory going into an up cycle. So size, scale, high quality is where we want to be, and that's what the Wood Mackenzie data shows.
It obviously gives you quite an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Range announced 2 record-setting wells in the Marcellus and Utica in Washington County, Pennsylvania. Do you believe that Range's Pennsylvania acreage is the sweet spot of the entire Appalachia region?
Yeah, I think we have some slides on our website. When you map hydrocarbon in place for the Marcellus and Upper Devonian and Utica, and then you add them together, the one area where you can stack all 3 areas is literally down in southwest Pennsylvania and literally in Washington County. So having, we believe, that's where you maximize hydrocarbon in place. Those wells that you referred to speaks to the quality, but I think even more important is when you look at our EURs per 1,000 foot in the Marcellus, coupled with the cost per 1,000 foot to get them, it's really the tops in the southwest part of the play and amongst the best in the entire play. Plus, being in the Southwest has an advantage in that there's better historical infrastructure down there. Plus, you have the advantage of dry versus wet. So we believe that is the sweet spot.
I was reading a little bit about your background and all the oil companies you've worked for over the years, and a Penn State graduate, so you get to work a lot, even though you're in Texas as well, get to work a lot in Pennsylvania. It must be pretty satisfying to reach this level of success, and I know you're very humble, but it still must be very, satisfying after all the years in the business to have this kind of success.
Well, it's been a blessing, and it's been fun, and really that's, other than a blessing, it's been to work with a great group of people to be able to achieve that. And it's kind of fun. I grew up right outside of Pittsburgh, so the Renz 1 discovery well was literally, it's probably a 40-minute drive from where I grew up. So even though I've worked literally at times all over the world, it's great to see the largest discovery I've ever been part of, to be right there in home where I grew up. So
that is cool. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Spectra Uniontown pipeline and the Mariner East pipeline. Can you explain why those represent key marketing events for Range? We'll talk about the pipelines a little.
Yeah, those are really important. So it's not important to just have the resource, but it's the price that you get for your product and the netback. So those projects are very important for us. Spectra, Uniontown to Gas City started up about 2 weeks ago with phase 1, and literally the final phase is about around September 1st, so in 2 weeks away. That'll take about 200 million per day of our gas, or about 25% of our gas production, from the local M2 market to the Midwest. And the significance right now is that's about a 75 cent to $1 uplift in pricing. So that's really important, particularly in today's world. So it takes a big portion of our gas to better pricing. We've hedged and locked in a big part of that. And then Mariner East is very important, or Mariner East 1 in particular that we're on. And this is a project that's been in the making for a long time. We have the lion's share of that project. We have 20,000 barrels per day of propane, which is about 80% of the capacity, and 20,000 barrels of ethane. So we had 40,000 barrels per day. We're the only producer that has firm transportation on the project, and we have the lion's share of it. What it'll do is allow us to export ethane to Europe. So we'll be the first company to really export ethane out of the United States. Our partners it's going to pick it up, FOB, Marcus Hook, or Philadelphia. That's important. We're currently exporting ethane to Canada on Mariner West. The other thing Mariner East does for us is on propane. It'll fix the transportation cost to a much more favorable level, and it'll allow us the ability to either sell propane into the Northeast markets when the time's right, or to export propane as well. So again, when you look at that project and you combine it with our other projects in terms of natural gas liquids, once Mariner East 1 is up and running, it's about a $90 million per year uplift for us, and that should be in the fourth quarter. So we get a big uplift on the gas side from Spectra, Uniontown to Gas City, and then a big uplift on the ethane and propane side off of Mariner East 1.
Mariner West, you mentioned exporting to Canada, and then Mariner East to Europe. So this is huge, opening up that market for.
Yeah, it's important for us, and I think it's important for the industry, and of course job creation and all those types of things.
All right. How will the coming LNG export opportunity affect Range Resources? How much of your production do you expect to export as LNG after the U.S. LNG export plants come online during the coming decade? Long question, but very important.
Yeah, exports again are important, and the U.S. will begin exporting natural gas or LNG by ship later this year. Cheniere's first project's on time. That's important, and then that will ramp up with time. Range has signed and announced about 200 million per day of contracts. I expect that will increase with time, but it's really important for the industry. When you look at natural gas, there's a lot of natural gas demand coming.
Yeah.
LNG exports, should be on the order of 10 billion cubic feet per day, starting with Cheniere and ramping each and every year. We're exporting gas to Mexico currently as an industry. Power generation is really shifting from coal to natural gas, and I think a lot of the new build power generation will be natural gas. And then industrial use and ultimately transportation, even if it's through electric vehicles, I think a lot of that electricity will be from gas. So we see about 20 BCF per day of incremental natural gas demand by 2020, and I think demand actually will surprise to the upside because it's a cleaner, better fuel. In Range, going back to the Wood Mackenzie study, having a large resource base in the premier play, I think that combination of demand coming with the position we have, I think we'll be in a good position looking forward.
All right, so tagging on to that, how do you think shipping U.S. natural gas offshore will affect the prices that U.S. producers realize?
Yeah, I think the key is it's not going to necessarily, I think what it'll do is the increased demand will just firm prices up. We'll see what prices do with time. I think they'll move up from where they are today. We've got so much gas, I think, that they may move up into, you can pick a price, whether it's $3.80 to $4.20 range, $4 plus or minus, but to move gas price from where it is today to $3.80 to $4 in a year or two, and then I think as the infrastructure gets built out in the Appalachian Basin, the differential in the basin will narrow. So Range will receive kind of a double up. I think natural gas prices will move up with increasing demand, and the basis will narrow, which will both be positive for us, coupled with our increased pricing on the natural gas liquids projects.
Well, and speaking of the pricing, thus far 2015, as you know, has been a year at times of sub $3 natural gas prices. You have about 85% of your production hedged in 2015. What about 2016?
Yeah, Range, another part of our strategy is to be consistent hedgers. So we have a little more than 50% of our gas hedged next year, the floor of 342, which is a good price, good hedge price, and also it's a high hedge amount relative to most of our peers.
All right, this is something kind of just as I was researching you. The IPAA awarded you in 2014 the Chief Roughneck Award to honor lifetime achievement of independent petroleum industry leaders, and you were the recipient of that. And I love your quote because I feel these quotes oftentimes say a lot about someone's character and how they lead. And you said, "It's not about me, it's about the team. I've been blessed to be part of a great team at Range. I've been blessed to have great mentors." So tell me a little about how you feel about that as a leader and this great team you have that's seeing so much success.
Yeah, and I really believe that. It's the people that I work with. It's the people that have helped guide me through my career. It's the good Lord, blessing me in that whole piece. And it's just I'm grateful to be part of it. So it's fun to achieve that, but really that award goes to many people other than I. I was just a person that picked it up, but it was great fun to do it. I will say that.
I'll bet. Well, and you're a good example of two who much is given, much is expected.
Absolutely, I wholeheartedly believe in that.
I can tell by the way you lead. So in wrapping up a little bit, the conference, you come here, it's been many years. What do you get out of this? What's fun about this? What do you learn? Why do you keep coming?
Well, I think, Intercom, Greg Barnett has done a great job year after year making the conference better. The one-on-ones get better every year. The attendance goes up every year. The quality of the interviews and the media events. So it's really, to me, has become a premier conference, and I definitely enjoy coming. I've known Greg for a long time. I always enjoy seeing him, and very importantly, we have kids and grandkids in the area, so it's a great excuse to come in a weekend early and get to spend a little extra time with them.
And you get the wonderful weather because Texas has had some pretty hot days.
Oh, absolutely. In Texas in August is usually 100 to 110 or somewhere in there. But
so you need a coat almost here, It
was a little cool last night. It was 70 degrees. So.
It was nice, wasn't it?
Yep.
Well, thank you so much. I've been, it's interesting for me, a layman, to learn more about what you do. When I was reading about the Marcellus and being a mile down and the horizontal drilling, it's fascinating for someone who doesn't know as much about the industry. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I'm Angie Austin with Oil and Gas 360, and we just enjoyed our interview with Jeff Ventura. He's the Chairman, President, and Chief Executive Officer of Range Resources here at the Intercom 2015 Oil and Gas Conference. So thanks so much, Jeff.
Thank you.